Yo, what's up? It's your boy Styles B back with another reaction video. And today I'm reacting to these sundown towns that apparently still exist in the United States today. Now, I won't say that it's unheard of because I've actually been to a sundown town in Massachusetts, and I don't know how many places. I've actually seen some places here in New York City that is pretty racist, but in New York City, it's rare that you really find places like, the town that I bumped into in Massachusetts. It was horrible. I mean, every store I went to, I got kicked out of two stores without even spending any money. And I was making a lot of money at this time, and they just didn't even want me in the just don't spend no money here. Period. Get out of here. One of the ladies actually told me that I didn't belong in the town. That was the first encounter. The second encounter, I was flat out called the N word, and I just left. I mean, but this was in 2000, 2001. I didn't really. It wasn't no going viral or making no internet post, or he didn't even report it. We just kind of laughed and walked up out there like, yo, these people crazy. These people crazy, and we left. But looking back at it in hindsight, it was something I should have reported those establishments. I mean, I doubt if anything would have happened. In these towns, people, this is a serious issue. So let's get it, check it out, man. We'll talk about this after a second. Let's get it, check it out.
Did you know there are still places in the U.S. that are very dangerous for black people to be in after dark? Sundown towns refer to communities in the United States that historically practiced racial segregation by systematically excluding non-white individuals, especially African Americans, from staying within the town after dark. These towns enforced both written and unwritten rules to prevent non-white people from residing or remaining inside town limits after sunset. Such towns were prevalent in the 1800s and early 1900s, and they weren't only limited to the South. They spread across the entire country. In these towns, it was common to see signs that warned, "Don't let the sun go down on you here." These signs would threaten non-white people to leave before nightfall. If they didn't, they faced threats of violence, arrest, and even the possibility of being lynched.
I feel very very uncomfortable, yeah. Very uncomfortable.
While you'd expect this type of racism to be a thing of the past, the reality...
Let me say this, right? I've been in towns where I gotta make a U-turn. I accidentally bumped into, the wrong area. And man, the air, the gravel, the atmosphere, everything just feels different. It's like you automatically can sense that you're somewhere you don't belong. So I remember one time I actually ended up on someone's property and thought that I was still on a roadway, and the property was so long. I'm talking about a half a mile long, probably longer than that. And I'm on these people's roadway thinking I'm on a regular street, and it's actually private property. And when I got to the front of the house, the guy that was there looked so pissed off. Like, yo, bro, I'm lost. But he was so pissed off. And I think if I didn't have a Spanish person in the car with me, it would have went in a different direction. But for some reason, he seen that lighter skin, and back out that way. You guys on the wrong. But if it was just us in the car, it would have been a different situation. You could just tell it was intense. You could just tell by the way the guy was looking at us, the driver, the passengers, until he realized one of the passengers was light. But yeah, this is a serious issue in America, man.
The reality is, sundown towns still exist today. In fact, there's been a disturbing pattern across the United States in recent years. Young black men are being lured to isolated rural communities, only to vanish or be found dead. But despite growing evidence, The existence of modern-day sundown towns remains a controversial topic, as many still want to dismiss it as a thing of the past. However, the testimonies of numerous Black Americans reveal otherwise. In this video, we'll be talking about several places in the U.S. that are still considered sundown towns today, along with recent cases involving Black individuals in these areas. So give this video a like to show your support, subscribe for similarly insightful content, and let's begin this haunting journey. Number 1, Vidor, Texas.
Like pretty much everybody I know in Texas that's Black tells me, do not go to Vidor, Texas. I'm like, okay. Yet here I was in Vidor, Texas.
Vidor is one of the most notorious modern-day examples of a sundown town. Historically a hub for the Ku Klux Klan, the town maintained its all-white status for decades. Despite reports of efforts for change, Vidor is a town that still remains unsafe for Black people today. The town has a reputation for racial hostility, and though no laws are on the books banning Black residents, unwritten rules and social pressures linger. Recently, a trucker found himself in a terrible...
And that's the crazy thing, right? So many times we find these situations where people of color, Black people, or Spanish people, non-white people will find themselves in these areas where they feel threatened. It was just a video recently of a young Black kid walking around in Miami after the hurricane and was being followed by a group of old white men. The thing about this is, it's so many people in this world that feel like this, that have this negative. They don't even have to know you. They don't. It's just a negative energy, this hatred that you can't untie. You feel me? It's some of these people is deeply rooted in them. They were raised on it. They came up this way, and that's the way they see that's the way everything about their life has been raised. They've been trained and conditioned that way. So it's kind of crazy when you see these situations with Black people, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't be in anywhere, and this is a free country, so you shouldn't. I'm not saying that you should be limited to go anywhere, but it's kind of crazy when you see people in these situations by themselves, or unprotected, or informed, misinformed about where they at. I think that when this is a great video, because this video actually gives you the information of where this is happening. That it informs people of be careful going there, and just having people in general in these areas to say, yo, listen, don't go there after hours, is not safe. Whoop. That's a serious situation. I think that needs to happen more. So this is definitely a great video. Let's continue watching it.
Terrifying situation when
Grammarly is a must-have for students.
when he delivered a load to Vidor. Watch as he shares this horrible encounter.
So I get to the place. I'm not giving names of companies or anything like that, but while I'm driving to the place, I see trailer parks. I see a bunch of Confederate flags. I saw a doll of a black man. It was just a doll wrapped in a Confederate flag hanging from a tree by its neck. That's the type of stuff I saw in Vidor, Texas.
So look, check it out, guys. I don't want to take too much time away from this video and boring you guys with a bunch of ads or a long commercial. So what I want to do is I want to take time to show you guys my own merchandise. I have my own clothing line, Dugami.com. You see the DG on the back. You actually got the DG on the sleeve and a huge DG in the front. So like I said, I don't want to bore you guys, and you can also see I have on the Dugami hat right now. So I don't want to bore you guys with a long ad or a long commercial, but I would like for you guys to go check out my merch. I would really appreciate it. The link will be in the description. And let's get back to the video.
Which led me to believe that the reputation was...
That's crazy, and I want people to keep this in mind, right? This doesn't have anything to do with a Trump administration. This doesn't have anything to do with a Biden administration. This doesn't, this survived through Obama's administration. This has been going on for decades, for centuries, right? So, I want people to understand that this is not something that you can blame on higher authority. This is something that's being taught to these people from their ancestors for generations and generations, and this is why it's so scary, because a lot of people, excuse me, I was just saying the same thing about well, I don't even want to say it right now, but I just said certain situations you have to be taught how to, some of these conditions are things that are taught to people. You're not born a fisherman. You learn to become a fisherman. You're not born a football player. You learn to become a football player. And that's just like a lot of these situations. It's just that, I guess you guys can get where I'm going with that, but that's how racism is. You're not born racist. You're taught racism. So pretty much that's where I was going.
Fairly earned. I get there, the security guard says, hey, we got a code red. The guy gets on the phone, is like, hey, I can't, I don't want to be responsible for this guy's safety. Let me go ahead and find somebody, because we stopped taking loads at 4 o'clock. But I'll get somebody over here from the other side of the plant. Tell them to hang.
And I don't want to keep cutting this video off because I want to get through this. But it was recently a young truck driver, a young guy was working in, I believe a truck driver was caught in one of these towns and tragically disappeared. So this is serious. This is just happening everywhere. It happens in schools. These kids are, racism is a nasty, is a sick, just a horrible disease, I believe.
Hang on. So I hang on. I'm doing what I got to do. Finally, somebody comes by about 15 minutes later. The guy said, let me hurry up and get you unloaded. He quickly gets me unloaded. And they say, dude, you might want to get up out of here as soon as possible. We're at sundown. You want to leave here now. Don't stop until you at least get to Beaumont. I was like, okay. He was like, no, seriously. I said, well, what about the police? Why aren't the police there? Police turned a blind eye. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do what you said. He said, yeah, man, I don't want to see you get in any trouble.
A Confederate flag, a doll of a black man hanging from a tree, and a security guard who cannot guarantee a black man's safety. These are things that would be more expected during the Jim Crow era. Yet it was already 2022 when this trucker shared such an experience.
That's crazy.
You may be wondering why its citizens would still hold on to such outdated behaviors. The thing is, it's not because of lack of education, but simply because many of its citizens refuse to change. In 1993, Vidor faced significant backlash when a court ordered its public housing to be desegregated. The Ku Klux Klan held a march in protest of this decision, while local church leaders organized a counter-demonstration. Despite the community's opposition, 4 black families moved into the housing complex. However, these families faced intense racial harassment and threats, including a bomb threat. As a result, all 9 black residents eventually moved out. One resident, Bill Simpson, described the threats he endured, saying,
I've had people who drive by and tell me they're going home to get a rope and come back and hang me.
Given that it's now 2024, it's quite unsettling to think that 1993 was only 31 years ago. As of 2024, Vidor has a population of almost 10,000 citizens, 94.71% of which are white.
We all knew about Vidor. We knew Vidor wasn't the place to be. We knew Vidor was a place that white supremacy is king, and it was definitely a sundown town. We all knew that. We knew that if
it's probably going to take much more time before the town's rid of its terrible history and attitudes. Fortunately, there's been some progress, albeit quite little compared to the accumulated damage. During the George Floyd protests in 2020, a diverse crowd of around 150 to 200 people attended a Black Lives Matter rally in the town. Nevertheless, this town can still be considered dangerous for Black people to travel in, especially after dark. Number 2, Kerman, California.
Especially if you want to hold a Black Lives Matter rally in that little town with just 150, 200 people. I think I would hope that it was a huge police presence out there. And maybe them guys wasn't out there after 5 o'clock. They know the rules, though.
I said, what if this was just a dream? And I walked downstairs and he's sitting on a couch.
But it wasn't a dream. That nightmare is still a reality for a mother months into the search for her missing son out of Fresno County. Corey Daniely was last seen on his birthday, August 7th, leaving a home in Kerman, and since then, radio silence.
Founded in the early 1900s, Kerman was initially a farming community that attracted diverse populations, including migrants and laborers. However, during the mid-20th century, Kerman developed a reputation as a sundown town, as white residents aimed to maintain racial homogeneity. Through the years, the town has been influenced by segregationists and racial violence. Even today, with only a 0.43% Black population, many of its townspeople still hold racist attitudes. A recent case that proves this is the disappearance of Corey Daniely, a 33-year-old musician from California who went missing on August 7, 2023, after an argument with a friend in Kerman.
On Monday, the 7th of August, earlier this year, a 33-year-old musician from California named Corey Daniely would suddenly disappear after getting into a fight with one of his friends before supposedly storming off into the night, never to be seen again.
That night, he went away and has not been seen since. The Fresno Police Department and Corey's family suspect that he may have died due to the suspicious circumstances surrounding his disappearance. The key to the investigation is Zach Stiles, the last person known to have seen Corey. Zach is Corey's friend who invited him out to Kerman. He mysteriously relocated to Hawaii shortly after the incident. Unfortunately, despite the mounting evidence suggesting foul play, including the lack of clear answers from the police, no conclusive details have come up regarding Corey's fate. This strange incident has led people to wonder if the case had been covered up. Nevertheless, Kerman obviously still appears to be unsafe for Black people to stay in. Number 3, Siskiyou County, California.
Now, as you're on your way there, you're going to pass through poor neighborhoods that have nothing but rebel flags flying high. And you have a lot of one-way roads that have no street lights or cameras. At one point, I thought to myself, damn, I could easily get murdered and no one would ever.
That's exactly what I was talking about. I ended up on someone's property that was just a long strip, and I actually thought it was a street. And you know, this guy was pretty upset that I was on his property. You don't even know that you've crossed off. I mean, you left the regular street. It still looks like a regular street, but it's actually someone's property, and that's what happened to me.
Or no. But as we were leaving, we took the scenic route back home. I remember traveling along Route 119, stopping at a gas station. The cashier was like, "You must not be from around here, huh?" I was like, "Nah, I'm just passing through."
Hate YouTube ads? You need this Chrome.
That's serious. That is serious. That happened to me.
Getting gas. She was like, "Yeah, you best not be around here after a certain time. This is a sundown town."
In 1970, only 2.1% of Siskiyou County's population was Black, while 1980 figures indicate a Black population of only 1.5%. By 2020, the county...
It's not nowhere... this is it's not nowhere you can go. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to say that, because now that I think about it, there's some places that I wouldn't go, and I'm Black, that I wouldn't go in urban neighborhoods, Black neighborhoods, after certain hours. And that's just being honest. So I doubt if unarmed white people would go into these neighborhoods as well. And that's just the police if they're armed with a group of police. But other than that, yeah, it's a lot of areas that that I can think of and say, as a black man, I would not go into that neighborhood, the black neighborhood, after 9, 10 o'clock or when it's dark. It could get real ugly inside those neighborhoods. However, that's not the same thing. That's not the same feeling I get when I think of these sundown towns. No. It's like the rules don't apply there. You may have people in the hood that may second guess what their what they're thinking. Excuse me. In these sundown towns, these guys they're not second guessing nothing. If they catch you after hours, it's fair play for them. It's fair game. So, yeah, it's just certain towns and certain cities, man. It just seems like it's pretty dangerous. It's really scary.
It only has a 1.07% black population. People of color tend to avoid this place because the county has long had a reputation for being racially biased, with log cabin hotels displaying signs that read, "We cater to whites only." Even today, the area's anti-blackness can be seen through recent incidents.
I don't blame nobody. I just want my child to be found.
That's crazy.
On May 5th, 2020, 28-year-old Devontae Morgan and his girlfriend traveled to Mount Shasta for a family birthday party. After a heated argument with his girlfriend, he left their motel and was never seen again. He was reported missing 2 days later, but police noted his girlfriend's unusual lack of emotion and that Devontae's broken phone made tracking him impossible. After nearly a week, surveillance footage showed him entering a gas station alone, but extensive searches yielded no further clues. Devontae's family grew increasingly frustrated, feeling that something was off in the community. The family reported instances of locals tearing down their missing person posters and showing little interest in helping them. 2 months later, a witness told Devontae's brother Anthony that he had seen Devontae get into a white truck, sparking rumors he'd been taken to the Shasta River. However, police found no evidence to support these claims and the case went cold. Devontae remains missing today. His family left searching for answers in a suspiciously indifferent community. Number
crazy.
4, Cullman, Alabama.
Crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah. This is 2023.
That's what I was saying. It's crazy.
And there's sundown towns.
But you were mentioning there's one actually here in Alabama. We're in Alabama.
It's called Cullman, Alabama.
Cullman, Alabama.
Cullman.
Okay.
Alabama.
And then
When Cullman was founded in 1873, it was advertised as a place with no blacks and no Indians. The place was historically a sundown area, and although official policies have long been
That is crazy. It was advertised as a town with no blacks and no Indians. Come move in here. Trust me, there's no blacks, no Indians. You'll feel free and you'll feel at home. That which is, you think in 1873 is crazy, but today, for this type of attitude and energy to still be around, you would think that with America being so free and fighting for its freedom, that people would have the right to move anywhere, and this is why I believe it is so important in today's age, no matter where you at in the United States of America, that the Second Amendment be free for all men and women, that you should be able to protect yourself anywhere. You don't need a permit. You should have a license. Yes, there should be stipulations. You committed felonies, you committed crimes, a lot of stipulations, for why you may not be able to get a gun again, why you get your weapon again or a firearm again. But I believe that everyone everywhere should have a right to defend themselves. These are very, very scary situations that you can just end up in. Unbeknownst to you, you're on somebody's property when you think you just made a right turn towards a gas station.
Abolished, many black travelers and residents report that certain areas of Cullman still feel unsafe, especially after sunset. The county remains predominantly white, and the memory of its exclusionary past lingers. In 2023, a black man recounted his unsettling experience in Coleman. He was a real estate agent and was one day assigned to a house in Coleman. Now watch as this man shares his personal experience regarding the town's ongoing racism.
I've heard of Coleman, but I didn't want to jump the gun. I wanted to see what they knew. I wanted to just pay attention. So we're riding, and as we come into town, I see a store, and it had a guy's face painted on the side of it. He had a beard, and so, I mean, to me, he looked like a person of color. I said, oh, this is a forward-thinking town. Look at that. They have, you know, I'm thinking, okay, they done put somebody up. The driver looks at the passenger, because the two guys I was riding with were in the front, I'm in the back. They look at each other, and he said, no, it's actually very much the opposite. He tells me out of his mouth, this is probably the most racist town in Alabama. It is a sundown town. I said, now you tell me after y'all bring me here. They're like, oh, you'll be fine, man, you'll be fine. You know, two country boys, so they're gonna be fine.
Right.
Well, yeah, you're good. I said, do I need to stay in the car when we get here? Oh, no, man. I was like, okay. We pull up. We hop out. I'm hopping out the car. Everybody's getting out, closing the doors. I'm walking around. White lady comes out of the house, older, a little older. She looks at everybody. She sees me and yells out, oh, y'all brought a black fella. Wow.
Crazy.
Throughout the visit, he tried to stay out of the way,
That's crazy.
allowing his colleagues to lead the interaction. However, the woman, while attempting to interact with him, acted oddly.
And then one time she acted like she was gonna fall, and I held my arm out, you know, in the house to help her, like, oh, don't fall. She said, watch out, I'm dangerous. I was like, I gotta get
out. Yeah, that's not gonna make me feel good.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I didn't even know where'd that come from.
Right.
For the act of benevolence.
I would love if you left a review for Coleman, Alabama.
I would love to leave a review
Because
I want to warn people who have never heard of it.
Yeah.
Because there's businesses there. There's warehouses. So if you're a truck driver, you might be like, oh,
That's
Coleman, okay.
crazy.
But you need to know. Don't spend the night there.
Dang.
While there have been demographic changes and some black residents have settled in the area, many white residents maintain a mindset that rejects racial integration. These residents still believe that black people do not belong.
That's crazy, man. I think, like he said, leaving a review in all of these towns and and making people aware of where it's safe and where it's unsafe is, I think that's very important, man. Nowadays, you know, you got Citizen app, you got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you got TikTok, you got people sharing information so fast and so widespread. I think that's very important to be to make it aware. And you know, with today's society, we have the power to change these type of narratives, to change this type of energy. So I think if we can do this peacefully, then that'll be a dope thing, man, to change these narratives. I know it's hard to change some people's hearts, and you know, I was just telling someone earlier, sometimes it takes time for you to finally get that hill, that mold that you want the right way. And some people get it molded the way they want and they'll walk away from it. But I think that we can, you know, as a society, get to mold something different and try to stick with it. But yo, it's crazy, man. This is how it is, man. Society is just crazy, man. Yo, if y'all want to go ahead and check out the rest of this video, man, y'all go ahead and check it out. It's on Black Journal's YouTube channel. Hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure y'all get and support them. Check it out. I don't want to go ahead and spoil the rest of the video, so y'all get and check it out, man. I just want to react to it. But yo, it's serious out there, man. It is very serious. So y'all make sure y'all be careful, stay safe, know where you at, and make sure other people know where you at too, man. It's dangerous out there, man. Until next time, man, Stops be reacting to another video, man. We'll get back to it.